right, folks, welcome back to the Freetarian Show, and this is a drive time rant. Gonna talk a little bit today about the Constitution. Well, let me tell you where I'm coming from right now. I just left the Health for Life dispensary North Store in Mesa, Arizona. Just finished up another incredible day of serving some of the finest cannabis in the entire state of Arizona to what is clearly some of the finest and most enlightened patients in the entire state of Arizona. And so now I'm going to head off to the gym and get a little pump on, and then we're going to crash out. Do it all over again tomorrow morning. So today's drive time rant, let's talk a little bit about the Constitution and its applicability, and of course all of the resulting laws from the Constitution. Now, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. When I'm talking about or asking for facts proving that the Constitution and its resulting laws actually apply to folks, I'm not referring to natural law. I want to make that distinction between natural law and man-made law. Natural law, there's a victim. When a victim's created, justice has to be served. It's the way nature works. It's just the way it is. You do unto others as you would have done unto you, and you don't create victims. You don't cause harm. You respect other people's right to life, liberty, and property. And so long as you don't violate any other individual's right to life, liberty, or property, then no real crime has been committed. So, that said, from this point forward, we're not talking about natural law. We're talking about man-made law, which I don't even consider really to be law. Rules, codes, regulations, whatever it is you want to call them, it doesn't matter. They're enforced by the barrel of a gun, and there's no victim. I'll give you several examples. Jaywalking, maybe speeding, maybe parking in a place you're not supposed to park, maybe peacefully carrying a firearm in a state or a locality that doesn't allow it because they have some man-made law. Growing cannabis, possessing cannabis, whatever. Anytime there's no real victim, it's a man-made law, and we don't even really consider that law. We just consider it opinions passed off as laws and enforced by the barrel of a gun. And so we want to talk about that. I have asked for the last several years now for someone to present to me facts that prove the Constitution and all of its resulting man-made laws actually apply to me, to you, or to anyone else for that matter. And I'm not talking about feelings and emotions. It feels all fuzzy inside to stand up proud, put your hand over your heart, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and of course stand for your national anthem and be proud. Feel that warm, fuzzy feeling inside that you're standing in unity with your comrades to a symbol of a state, the flag, the Constitution. I know it feels all warm and fuzzy inside to belong to something. Let's put all the emotional bullshit aside and let's talk facts. Somebody please show me the facts that prove the Constitution and all of its resulting man-made laws actually apply to me, to you, or to anyone else for that matter. Just the facts. Now you get, here's the thing. I just had someone on Twitter say, well, more than 2 million folks have been deported. There's your proof. The immigration laws apply. So what you're telling me is that because a handful of human beings use threats and the threat of violence to forcefully remove folks from the country that were otherwise just peaceful and we're not violating anyone's rights to life, liberty, or property, that's your facts that a law actually applies? So if I put a gun to your head and I say give me 20% of your paycheck, and you pay me 20% of your paycheck because you fear for your life, and I have it on a piece of paper that says you owe me 20% of your paycheck. I just wrote it up. I signed it. I put a stamp of approval on it. Is that now law? No, those aren't facts. It's just a handful of human beings using force on otherwise peaceful people. That is a crime. It's not facts. So anyways, I've been asking numerous people. I mean, I can't even count the number of people. Judges, cops, lawyers, your average Joe Blow on the street. I've been asking for years. Present me the facts that prove the Constitution and its resulting laws actually apply to people. And I haven't gotten one single fact, not one. Mark Stevens has been asking that same question for even longer than I have. He is another student of Lysander Spooner, who's one of my favorite philosophers back from the 1800s, an American anarchist, started a mail delivery business that would compete with the government's monopoly on mail, and which was bold in and of itself back in the 1800s. And if you don't know who Lysander Spooner is, Google him. Read his works. The Constitution of No Authority, for example, is an incredible piece to read. This guy really opens your eyes up to what government really is. Government's not anything to be proud of. Government are criminal, period. Every single thing government does, they do through the use of intimidation, coercion, and force. The only quasi-legitimate function of government, and this is really even a stretch in and of itself, is seeking justice for victims. And victims are defined as those individuals that have had their rights to life, liberty, or property violated. Okay? And that's the only quasi-legitimate function for government, and even that is sketchy in and of itself. But certainly they don't have a legitimate authority to tax anyone. They don't have a legitimate authority to create these man-made laws that regulate peaceful activities like cannabis cultivation, peacefully walking across the street outside of an intersection where there's a crosswalk. I could go on and on and on about peaceful activities that they, rob people by giving them fines. And running a business without a business license is another one. What the hell? It's absolutely insane to require peaceful people to get a business license. I know. We've grown up with the idea that a business license is the proper thing to do. Stop, sit down, and brainstorm. What is the idea of a business license? And is it necessary? And really look into the issue, and you'll come to the conclusion it's just another racket. It's another racket to extract wealth and to control your activities, your peaceful activities. And that's criminal. The people that do this are criminal. So, again, I am on this video right here, right now, and I'm sending this request out there to any Republican, to any Democrat, to any socialist, or which is mostly the Democrats now, or any of the fascists, which is mostly the Republicans now, Marxists, whatever, communists, whatever you guys want to call yourselves. Show me the facts. Facts, pure facts, that the Constitution and its resulting laws actually apply to me, you, or anyone else for that matter. And remember, it's not just me asking this. I really want to know what facts can prove the element of applicability in any crime that may be put forth in the courts. What facts can you show that prove a law actually applies to folks? When you go to court, if you get arrested, let's say for possession of cannabis, Well, you are being arrested, kidnapped in this case, but let's just keep it the way government, believes it is. So it's an arrest. It's not kidnapping. It's an arrest, according to government. So you get arrested for possession of cannabis. You go into court. Now, in the court's own rules, and this is in law and in reason as well, every element of a crime must be satisfied, not with opinions or assumptions, but with facts. So, if you are in the state of Arizona, for example, and you get popped being in possession of cannabis, you go into court, the court's going to look at the idea of, the question of, were you actually in possession of cannabis? Well, yes, I was. That fact is satisfying the element of, were you really in possession of cannabis? Yes, you were caught with cannabis. The cop took possession of it and charged you with being in possession of cannabis. That violates the law of the state of Arizona. Now, the second element that must be satisfied is the geographical location that you were in possession of that cannabis. And of course, if you're in the state of Arizona and you're in possession of cannabis, and in this case, if you don't have your medical card, it's illegal to be in possession of it. So, two elements. Were you in possession of it? Yes, that's a fact. Were you in the geographical location called Arizona? Yes, that's a fact. So those two elements are satisfied with facts. And 99.9% of the time, judges and prosecutors and even your own defense attorney, that's all they need to see. They need to see that you were in fact in possession of cannabis. That element is satisfied with a fact. You were in the geographical location of Arizona when you were popped with this cannabis. That element is satisfied with facts. But don't stop there. Don't let your lawyer stop there. There's one more element that needs to be satisfied when you call it into question. And it's up to you. It's up to you to defend yourself against these bureaucratic attacks and put the onus on the government to prove that the law they're actually prosecuting you under actually applies to you. Don't let, not even your defense attorney will want to stop right there. You were in possession of cannabis, you were in the geographical location of Arizona, they're going to convict you on those two elements that were satisfied with facts. Don't let the court stop there. And believe me, if you think your defense attorney is on your side because he's trying to get you a lesser sentence and all this bullshit, believe me, your defense attorney is a member of the bar. Your defense attorney is on the state's side, whether you believe it or not. Your defense attorney will want to stop right there. Don't let him stop right there. And you hold the judge and you hold the prosecutor, you hold their feet to the fire. This is a bureaucratic attack. They are trying to apply a law to you without any evidence. Call it into question. Your Honor, I have a unsigned guilty plea. I'm willing to sign and take my punishment right here and right now. It was a fact I was in possession of cannabis. It was a fact I was in the geographical location of Arizona. Both of these in that law that the prosecutor says I violated, according to that law, I should be convicted on those two elements. But what I need to see before I can sign this guilty plea is I need to be fully informed, because I'm assuming this court will only accept fully informed guilty pleas. Of course, the court is absolutely going to agree with you. Yes, you need to be fully informed. We only accept fully informed guilty pleas, or any plea for that matter. You then turn around to the prosecutor and you demand the facts proving the law actually applies to you. Well, guess what, folks? If the prosecutor cannot furnish the court with facts proving the law applies to you, then that is another element that you have just brought into the equation. Now that element must be satisfied with facts. And if you think the prosecutor can absolutely present those facts, you are sadly mistaken. Mark Stevens has been asking for over a decade for the facts. Not a one time, not a once. Has any prosecutor, has any lawyer, has any cop or any judge or any Joe Blow that's called into his radio show ever presented facts? And in fact, if you go to markstevens.net, you will see success story after success story after success story, and he's always posting them all the time. Traffic tickets getting dismissed for lack of evidence, even felony drug possession charges being dismissed for lack of evidence because the prosecutor cannot furnish the court with facts proving that that man-made law actually applies to people. Opinions or assumptions won't cut it. The prosecutor's opinion or assumption is not a fact. The judge's opinion or assumption is not a fact. It's opinions. Opinions are not facts. Now, you get some people that'll turn around and say, well, I don't understand what facts you're looking for. Hey, I don't know what facts I'm looking for either. I'm not the one making a claim. Government is making the claim that the law applies. I'm simply asking for the facts to prove the law applies. If you can prove it, I'll agree with you. But I'm not going to agree that the law applies unless you can present facts proving the law applies. Is that not reasonable? Statists out there, both Republicans and Democrats, is that not a reasonable request to ask for the facts proving the speeding laws apply to you before you plead guilty to paying that ticket? Or your jaywalking ticket, before you plead guilty and pay the jaywalking fine? Is it not reasonable as a free human being to ask the courts for the facts proving the law actually applies to you? It's an element of the crime. The law has to apply before they can prosecute you under. How do you even know the law applies? Where did you learn the law applies? Did your school teacher teach you that? Did the media teach you that? Is it just cops saying that? Blah, 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 the law applies? Is it just other Republicans and Democrats saying, oh, you're stupid, of course the law applies? It's just words. That's all it is. It's opinions. I'm not interested in your opinion or anyone else's opinion. I want the motherfucking facts. Here would be an acceptable fact, maybe a consent form. Pull out a consent form that I signed that says I agree to obey the speeding laws, or I agree to obey the cannabis prohibition laws. And don't tell me that because I'm in the geographical location of the United States, I have this social contract where we all agree to abide by the Constitution and its resulting laws, because that's just a straw man argument. Those aren't facts. That's your opinion once again. I never signed anything that says I agree to apply the Constitution to my life. I agree to apply the Constitution to everyone else around. I never signed anything. So stop with the bullshit platitudes and opinions or assumptions. I want facts. Just the facts. Prove to me with facts the law applies, and we're all good. But unless you can present to me the facts proving the law actually applies, fungola. That's all I got to say on that. All right, guys, till next time, peace out. I am the captain on the Freetarian Show tonight. And till next time, peace!